יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
These words, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. From the Psalms, they mean exactly what it is we feel in this moment. How good it is for us all to be together. Tonight is seriously a reunion. A reunion of those who have been together before and a first union for those who have never met. It's a reunion for me with my sister, Cantor Sarah Haas. The last time you saw her, or I think generally, was when she was almost a cantor, when she was here for our first year when CSK grew and as we launched. It's wonderful to stand up here with her and to be led so beautifully with her music, with her spirit, with her neshama. And this is indeed the first Shabbat service that feels normal-ish, you know, with the masks, but still normal-ish, since March of 2020. It is remarkable that we get to be here together. I am incredibly grateful to my friend, Reverend Colin Bosson of First Unitarian Universalist Church, who he and his staff make it possible for us to be here. And this is the first time we've been in the sanctuary. So we are, we're just so glad to be here. So glad to be here to celebrate the beginning of Nathan Siegel's bar mitzvah, and which will take place tomorrow. And of course, we are so glad to welcome Judge Lina Hidalgo. So I want to say, as an advanced organizer or a caveat, or I don't know what you want to call it, but there are those who would like us to sort of just do an abbreviated service, and there are so many more who want us to make it as long as possible. I know. Don't push too much, but we're going to do a generally regular service. If you have to leave, we're not following you with a lead or something like that. We won't hunt you down, don't worry. But we're going to move along at a generally Shabbos pace. Well, a little faster, but not super, super fast. So we are in the prayer book, and we are on page 1, where we are singing together the words, Hinei matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How wonderful. I mean, how super amazing it is to be here together. Prayer book. The details of beauty. Remember the details of beauty with your eyes. The autumn leaf baby's cry, small wonders to remind you of joy and wonder. Remember the details of love with your breath, the soft smile and gentle hand, small wonders to remind you of awe and majesty. Remember the details of faith with your pulse, the quiet prayer, the hymn of glory, small wonders to remind you of devotion and service. God of old, the details of beauty surround us. Love and faith are our inheritance. Teach us to see clearly in each day the small wonders you set before us, to take them in, to feel their power, and to rejoice. And we rejoice. In the supplement you'll find the words for Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, אמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
To light the candles this evening, which can be found on page 3, I invite up the mother of the bar mitzvah, Jenny Siegel, and her sister, Carrie Salter. Please come on up. You're going to sing this and sing the prayer. Now turn to your neighbor and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. And if you happen to be close to them, give them a kiss. L'chaim page 4.
Shabbat, בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשורה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. רואי חלה, רואי חלה, יא לה 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 אל חדותי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת וקבלה.
Please remain standing as we now shift into Baruch Hu, the call to worship. This moment when we stand before each other and before God as we open the gates of Shabbat.
Ya la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
You know, our sages teach that one of the most important attributes that a human being can aspire to is the practice of humility. And I'm looking out and I'm seeing this full room, and then I'm thinking to myself, Nathan Siegel, Judge Lina Hidalgo, Cantor Sarah Haas. Of these three, and me, of these four, I'm here each week. But all of you are not. Indeed, these people, really, you three, have brought this crowd together. We are one. No matter where we come from, and no matter where we live, no matter what we look like, no matter what languages we speak, no matter where we call home, no matter how we believe, the Torah is clear that we are one, and that we are part of God, and that God is a part of us, and there is no real hierarchy between us. That is just a fable. The truth is that we are one. We continue with Shema, page 9.
Shem Kevod
On Friday evenings of a Shabbat, we celebrate a bar mitzvah, which will take place tomorrow for Nathan. We invite the bar mitzvah student up to lead a prayer, get his feet wet a little bit, break the ice, right? So, I invite Nathan to lead us in chanting the Hafta, which can be found on page 10. Getting up real close.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך וקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In a moment, we're going to be singing a beautiful song, a song that's called a prayer song. It's called Mi Chamocha. And Mi Chamocha is a prayer that is directly from the Torah, directly from the point in Exodus when the Israelites are crossing the Red Sea. Well, they've crossed the Red Sea and they are celebrating. And they say, "Who is like you, God, who frees the slaves?" And in order, we've always believed at CSK that in order for us to have a sense of community and to be able to celebrate with each other, we need to know each other's simchas, which I always translate as good newses. So, those of you who are watching, by the way, everybody turn around and just wave to one of the cameras. There's a lot of people who are watching on Zoom or on YouTube Live, but we welcome you as well. I invite you to share with each other your good newses in the chat or whatever it is. Maybe, I don't know. But you can share with each other. And then I also invited everyone to share with me some good newses. And I have two to share. Cheryl and Lee Reback. They are excited to announce that they are soon enough to become grandparents. Their son Harrison and their daughter Ruchira will be having a little baby, and then also Nanette Tashnek, who is starting up her eidetic trainings next year. I know there's lots of good newses, but we're not going to take them today like we normally do. But I don't know. You can talk while we pray as well. Share with each other. That's fine too. We continue with Mi Chamocha, page 13.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעתר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא.
Shema that we are going to sing, and then we are going to just take a moment to reflect as we continue our prayers for oneness and peace in the world.
Adonai Svatai Tiftam, Adonai Svatai Tiftam, Ufiaki Tehilatecha, Ufiaki Tehilatecha. Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufiagi Tehilatecha, Ufiagi
We continue this meditative prayer. I invite you to be seated. Just sit for a moment in quiet. You carry sacred cargo within. That's you, by the way. That's you. Your ruach, your nefesh, your neshama, your spirit, your soul, the spirit and breath of holiness given to you by the one, the source. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be God's holy name. You carry sacred cargo within your heart, your lungs, your blood, the vitality of holiness given to you by the one, the source, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be God's holy name. You carry sacred cargo within your hands, your voice, your strength, the instruments of holiness given to you by the one, the source, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be God's holy name. We are so lucky, all of us sitting here. You know why? Because we're not in the hospital. And because we're not homeless. And after that, we're not hungry. We're probably not thirsty. And you probably have enough money to pay rent. And I imagine you have a vacation in mind. In a year, 6 months, tomorrow. That isn't a dream. Stuff that we so easily take for granted. I don't think we should feel guilty about it, but I think it's all opportunities to remember how blessed we are because so many don't. Think about those in the hospital struggling with illness, malady. We come here tonight to build a sanctuary of time. To say thank God for this moment. For indeed, all we ever have is this moment. I invite you to bring these names of people who are ill to your mind and heart. Put them out into the universe for fullness. You'll find the words for Misha Beirach, our prayer for healing, on page 23.
Mekor habracha leimotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Judge Hidalgo, I don't imagine this is the first religious service you've been to. I do, though, assume that no matter what religion, sect, group, there's always the one universal part, which is, of course, announcements. So, very briefly, just want to make sure everyone knows that all this information is on the website, of course, but Journey, the Jewish Discovery Project, continues on Sunday morning, tomorrow morning at the JCC. Not tomorrow, Sunday, excuse me. Thank you. Little sisters, what do they know? I mean, really. Our meditation at noon on Mondays and Thursdays will continue this week. Next Friday night we will be doing services again, but online only, and that'll be led by myself and Julie Sachs. On the 13th, next Saturday, we have bikes and Havdalah. We're going to be out with young families at Memorial Park. Information's on the website. Also, 2 weeks from tonight, Friday, November 19th, we're going to be celebrating someone who I know who is watching from home right now, Holly Hunsaker, our program manager, who has been an unbelievable stalwart volunteer and employee who has just recently announced her retirement. So please come to the Murfish on November 19th to wish Holly well and celebrate her. And we're doing a hands-on Hanukkah cooking demonstration at Rice Epicurean Market on November 21st. And then finally, our Hanukkah Shabbat will be here on Friday, December 3rd. So those are just the quick announcements. I'm also so excited to be celebrating Nathan's bar mitzvah tomorrow, and to be doing so with my sister, Cantor Sarah Haas. So thank you to the Siegel family for their celebration and for showing up and being so much a part of this experience as well. I'd like right now to introduce a friend of mine, a friend of many of you here, and his name is Kenny Friedman. Kenny and Ann, his wife, have been wonderful supporters of Shema Kulinu since we began. Kenny is the chair of the Harris County Houston Sports Authority. He is also the chair of the Mickey Leland Kibbutzim Internship Foundation. He is the chair of the Harris County Street Olympics Foundation. He is the former chair of the Community Relations Council of the Federation. And he is the former president of the Greater Houston and Regional, Greater Houston Region and president of the American Jewish Committee. He's a longtime lawyer here in Houston. And Kenny has been an early and often supporter of Judge Hidalgo and continues to provide an advisory role to her. Kenny is going to introduce Judge Hidalgo, and it's my honor and privilege to welcome Kenny to the Bima.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight, and I'm really pleased and proud to welcome to our congregation Judge Lina Hidalgo. I can think of no one more appropriate to receive the inaugural Rabbi Tarfon Award. She has certainly done her part and then some to practice Tikun Olam, the repair of the world, or at least her part of the world. Judge Hidalgo was elected in 2018 and thereby became the presiding officer of Harris County Commissioner's Court, the first woman and the first Latina to be so elected. That political body, which represents a population larger than 26 states, has been the epitome of good old boy politics since its inception, and her election created quite a stir among several of its members. But in spite of a less than hospitable welcome by some of her colleagues, she has ably led Commissioner's Court through her intellect, her courage, her articulate persuasiveness, and her charm and demeanor. It would have been a daunting task for anyone to step into that position, but before she could hardly even determine her vision of leadership for the county, she and all of us were confronted with the COVID crisis. Judge Hidalgo became a model for quiet, determined leadership in confronting the incredible challenges presented by a pandemic. She immediately understood that her primary responsibility was to help save people's lives, and she set about to doing just that. Taking her positions as outlined from time to time by the CDC, the Harris County health officials, and the Texas Medical Center, she set forth a bold plan to confront the virus and protect the citizens of Harris County. Even when she was criticized or ultimately rebuked and her policies overturned by the governor, she never turned those experiences into political talking points. She never pushed back, she only kept pushing forward, and she never lost sight of her goal to protect as many people in Harris County as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, that is real leadership, to never waver from doing what she knew was right, to never try to make political capital out of a political dispute, and to always keep foremost in her mind helping the people of Harris County. Whether one agrees with the position she took or not, I hope everyone will agree that her positions were well thought out, they were principled, and they were based upon her deep-seated belief that we're all called upon to repair the world. I hope you've all gotten an opportunity to read the brief biography of Judge Hidalgo in the program and to marvel at what a remarkable journey she's been on. Since being elected judge in 2018, she, in addition to her handling of the COVID crisis, she's led Commissioner's Court to confront and deal effectively with issues as disparate as disaster recovery, bail reform, early childhood development, and voting access. Finally, in her commitment to open and fair government, she's refused to accept political contributions from anyone doing business with Harris County or who hopes to do business with the county. That is a remarkable departure from the way Harris County has always operated and a clear indication of someone who is living their principles. Rabbi Tarfon would be proud to have someone like this be the initial recipient of an award given in his name. Please welcome Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo along with Rabbi Hausman Weiss for a presentation.
I would so love to see Rabbi Tarfon, a 2,000-year-old sage, standing here with you. He's not available. So I'm going to try to be a decent sub for him. Judge Hidalgo, it is indeed my privilege and my honor to offer you the inaugural Rabbi Tarfon Tikun Olam Award. And we are providing you with this certificate that reads, Congregation Shema Kolenu, Rabbi Tarfon Tikun Olam Award. The Honorable Judge Lina Hidalgo. Whereas Congregation Shema Kolenu stands for Tikun Olam, repair of the world, Tikun Am, repair of the collective, and Tikun Atzmi, repair of the individual. And whereas the ancient Jewish sage Rabbi Tarfon taught, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo atav en chorin lihibatel mimena. It is not upon you to complete the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. And whereas Judge Lina Hidalgo, Harris County, Texas, has championed and secured greater and fairer access to the polls and has advocated for the rights of business owners and customers alike to keep public spaces as safe as possible from COVID-19. And whereas Judge Lina Hidalgo speaks truth to power and advocates for ordinary constituents whose voices are so often unheard by the powers that be. And whereas Judge Lina Hidalgo is the first Latina, as well as the first woman, ever to be elected to the position of Harris County Judge, and has fundamentally and forever given a new face to the gender, ethnicity, and age of the kind of person occupying that office. Now, therefore, Congregation Shema Kolenu graciously bestows upon the Honorable Lina Hidalgo, Harris County Judge, the inaugural Rabbi Tarfon Tikun Olam Award, presented on this Shabbat, November 5th, 2021, the second day of Kislev in the year 5782.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. What an honor. And Kenny and Jonathan, I know who's here, everybody who's here. I am just so deeply honored. And I'm so grateful that you all have welcomed me into your beautiful congregation. I talk often about how Harris County is great because of its people. And it's true. In every corner of our community, there are people who are good and work so hard every day to improve the community without fanfare or recognition. And those are people like you and your congregation. And I recognize the work you all have done, the advocacy around folks who are struggling with housing insecurity, around the LGBT community, around so many other issues. So thank you for leading in that way and for living your values in that way. Today, and I should say Shabbat Shalom, we recognize that God worked for 6 days at creating the world, and on the seventh day, he ceased working. And so I was thinking about today, and I thought about the fact that I've been in office just over 1,000 days, and it still feels many days like we're just scratching the surface. And I think that's why I was so moved by this quote from Rabbi Tarfon that you read. It is not upon you to complete the task, neither are you free to desist from it. There are such enormous tasks before us. We can't control climate change or the bigger and harsher storms that are coming our way, but we can invest in smarter flood control and planning and smarter growth and ask the tough questions about how to be resilient. We can't eliminate housing insecurity, but we can invest in permanent supportive housing, and we can work on the issues that are at the root of that. And of course, we can't prevent a virus from developing that's going to engulf the world, but
we can fight back based on the best information we have, and we can support financially all who've been impacted by the economic repercussions of the virus. And so, as we reflect, because of the Shabbat, and as we think about what we can do, let us challenge the institutions. How can we build more nimble institutions? How can we build institutions that are proactive and not reactive? What about serving those most at need? How can we make sure that those who were already at a disadvantage and now are suffering more because of the compounded disasters, how do we make sure they have what they need? For our part, we're working on keeping people healthy, investing in environmental protections, biggest investment in 30 years. We are working on making sure that people can express their preferences, expanding the right to vote. We are working on all ranges of issues, from domestic violence to flood control, and you name it. And I guess what I'm saying is, yes, the challenges may be daunting, and we can't pretend like they're gonna stop, because they won't. But that is what makes us human and resilient and makes us a strong community. We are all here because we've survived COVID thus far, and the winter storm, and the fire, and the other fire, and the flood, and the other flood. But but we're stronger for it. And I am just honored to share this time with you all and to reiterate that commitment that all of us have to this community, to not giving up, instead to working to build even stronger as we move forward. Thank you for this incredible honor. I can't tell you guys how much it means to me. It truly does. Thank you so much.
No, it's all right. You don't have to stand up for me. It's very kind of you. But before we move on to Aleinu, as Judge Hidalgo, as one who flooded and then flooded again, I so resonate with the words that you have shared with us tonight. There are continuing crises taking place in our world and in our community, but there are also incredible heroes, incredible organizations that are doing such amazing work. One of them is Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston, and I want to acknowledge Martin Kaminsky, the CEO. Judge Hidalgo is the honorary chair of the Interfaith Ministries Advisory Board. And well, what happened, Judge Hidalgo, is I had this big idea that we were going to give you some trophy or some plate. And then a very wise lay leader said, Rabbi Scott, a lot of plates and trophies. And all right, how about a certificate? But then we'll make a contribution. And so we are making a contribution to Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston in your name, in honor of the work you do and the commitment you make. And please know, right now, Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston is engaged in the resettlement of 2,000 Afghan civilians who have come to the United States and are being settled around the country, and Houston is working to settle, or is it Houston or just Interfaith Ministries? Houston is working to settle 2,000. There is work to be done. There's amazing volunteer work to be done. But in addition, Thanksgiving is coming up. And Interfaith Ministries is still doing the work of all the work they had done prior to the need to work to resettle these Afghan people. So please go to their website, sign up to be a volunteer who can deliver Thanksgiving meals to seniors who are homebound, and continue the incredible work of Interfaith Ministries. This next prayer is called Aleinu. And generally, we do it in a very traditional way, mostly in Hebrew. But a friend of ours, a friend of many of yours, whom you've met online because of our meditations, Dan Nichols, he reframed, he reimagined how Aleinu can sound to us, can feel to us. The words Aleinu mean it is upon us. It is upon us to do the work, to be God's agents in the world. So I invite you to take out your supplement and then please rise as we open the ark and stand before the Torahs and offer these words.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu leshabeya. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. The stories will be told of us when we are here no more. We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu leshabeya. It's time to live our praise. Us to own the vision. We are an answer to. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu leshabeya. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu leshabeya. It's time to live our praise.
Please be seated. At this time in our service, we take a moment to think of people who are no longer with us. It was heartbreaking, I'm sure, for many of you, certainly for me, in hearing that we in the United States crossed the threshold of 750,000 people who died of COVID since February of last year. 750,000. 5 million worldwide. And I feel so awful for those who have passed away. And it even pains me deeper to think of the maybe, 20 million, 25 million people whose hearts are broken for having lost these loved ones. At this time, I would like to invite you, if you would like, please stand where you are seated if you'd like to mention names aloud. I invite you to say it loudly so others can hear. I'm sorry to those who are watching Zoom. We are not going to be able to mic everybody. But you can share names with each other online. But if you would like to mention names aloud, please stand where you are seated and I will point in your direction for you to share those names with us. About them we say, Zichronam livracha. May their righteous memories be a blessing for us all. I invite all of us to rise with all of you standing. As we turn to page 26 for Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi. Ba'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'gala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnatzei. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shmed kudsha brichu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'miran be'elma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace upon us, upon all Israel and all the world. And let us say, Amen. We are going to conclude our service with, well, almost. We're not done yet, but we're almost done. With Oseh Shalom, the last line on page 26. We pray to God, help us build this world, a world of peace.
Oseh Shalom.
In a moment, we're going to say blessings over the wine and over the challah, but I want to just say thank you, number one, to my sister, Cantor Sarah Haas. To all of you for joining us. You know, it really is a first for all of us, and it feels so good to be together. So thank you for being and coming out and joining us. These things like this, especially that bring all these different pieces together, they don't just happen. And oftentimes there are key people who make sure that they happen. And there is actually a long list of key people, but particularly of note, I want to say a big thank you to Andy Kupferberg, who brought all of the pieces together to make such a beautiful reception, to make the bima look so beautiful, and just, well, what a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Join together in our prayer over the sweetness of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Chaim.
You know those sayings about how you beat a dead horse? Yeah, well, I tend to have a beating problem. Not really. That doesn't sound exactly right. But what I want to say is that I was just about to make a comment about how we're not only on Zoom now, and how good it feels, and I think that that's going to start getting old. But God willing, it gets old quickly. On Zoom, I would always have everybody unmute themselves for Motzi, just for the end prayer, and I really loved it because it's this wonderful but awful cacophonous prayer. But the kavanah, the intention is so pure and so wonderful. But I have to tell you, I'm glad it's maybe in the past. It's really nice to be in harmony and symphony together, to be singing together and not in different planes of existence. Have I beaten it enough? Okay, let's say Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I know, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think you can. Everybody, on your way out, there is challah for you to enjoy. Challahs that were homemade by Joan Reichstein.